Hey! Hi, I'm Byron. Welcome to the Stereoscope Podcast number 8. We are in the new space. The final form. Or near final form. So this is a huge episode today. We have a brand new host with us. This is Sean Tarioto. He's a very good friend of ours. He's an actor. He's a VR enthusiast. Say hi, Sean.
Hi, Sean.
There you go. What's up, Anthony? How you doing today?
Same as always.
All right.
Whatever that means.
So yeah, this is a pretty big episode. We're in the final space, and it looks fantastic. Anthony did a great job rigging it all up today, and we've got a lot of stuff to talk about because we just watched the Meta Connect 2024. We saw the Orion glasses. That stuff is crazy. All right, we're going to launch into our first topic, which is the iPhone spatial video on iPhone 16 and iPhone 16 Pro.
Correct.
Yeah, so this is an update for...
It's a very minor incremental update to what they had in the 15.
And it brings spatial photos to everyone.
Yeah.
And spatial video to the non-pro models.
All of it is on all of it, basically. So the big change is that now you can do spatial. It's two big changes. You can do spatial photos. We couldn't do that before.
Yeah.
And you can do that spatial photos and videos on the entire lineup instead of just the Pro models.
So everybody who buys an iPhone now will have a spatial camera in their pocket.
Correct.
That is nuts.
Yeah.
Can you imagine saying that like 2 years ago?
No.
I didn't think any of that was going to happen.
Now it's still limited to like 1080p and 30 frames, but it's still, as we know, it looks like there might be some camera updates that hopefully have fixed some of the issues we've had. Where
maybe a higher resolution on the ultra wide camera,
wide, and maybe just as fast a camera because they're like
because they said you can shoot in 4K 60 now, right?
I think 4K 120,
4K 60 frames.
Yeah,
and 122.
Yeah. The cameras are insane.
Well, how much memory are you gonna need to get? Like, do I need to put in a grip map?
They are pretty
that is a lot.
The beauty
data
is that you can now like plug a hard drive into the phone and actually record directly on a hard drive.
Yeah.
Well, and it's also recording in this in
MVHEVC.
Yeah, the MVHEVC, which is
very efficient.
It's the way that it works is it stores the difference between the frames rather than storing two complete frames.
Yeah.
Which is...
So it's something like 35 megabytes per minute of video, which is really not bad.
It's actually the same technology they use to compress Blu-ray videos.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, it's one hand or the other, but it's
3D
Blu-ray.
Yeah.
You're not weighing down both sides.
It is. Yeah. It is an old, and that's kind of been frustrating because people want to get this, use it again now, but it hasn't really been used since encoding.
Yeah.
And I've got a friend who actually burns 3D Blu-rays and stuff like that, and the codec, the package to encode in that thing is something like the license for it is $10,000. It's some insane thing because it is this like only studios needed it, so it's got that kind of price tag on it.
Yeah.
So hopefully somebody's working on this right now.
Well, and we've used Spatial Fi. You use Spatial Fi more than I have.
Correct.
Can you tell us about your experience with it?
I mean, it works great. I haven't used it in a minute because I haven't been playing too much with these videos, but it's working really well to just convert, MVHEVC to...
Do you have the iPhone 16?
Yeah.
Are you gonna...
So, I mean, it does... So one of the big changes is that there's now... So used to you'd go to video and there'd be like a little AVP icon. You click that and that would put you into... Now there's a spatial section over here because you can do, again, videos and photos.
And you're going to drop like a spatial video into here,
so we'll do a quick little...
Woo!
Like, hey, and then here's the lighting set up in case anybody
And you can see that
in 3D
here right now.
So, yeah.
It's like we're time traveling.
Yeah.
So much time traveling today. All right. I'm excited for this. It's fairly minor, but it's going to have a big impact long term.
Yeah, it's all about just getting more and more people into this format and into the idea of thinking in 3D and all this other stuff. Yeah, so it's exciting.
Right. Which is the reason for the season.
What do we have next on there?
For the season.
It's the Calf Vicens. I don't know what that means.
Vicens?
I don't know what that word means, but
Vision Sense, I'm assuming is what they were going for, but
so Calf was this new stereo VR 180 camera that came out a couple of years ago, and supposedly it's a Chinese social media company that built this camera for their platform, and they have an app that goes with it, and it's effectively like TikTok in 3D.
This is like the Snapdragon. This is like the Snapchat lenses, but a completely different vibe. Like it's a social media company that developed hardware.
Yes, it's very soon to build. Yeah, I was like, wait, where are you going with that? But you came around. I understand it now.
Everything the TikTok.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, because ByteDance owns TikTok and they own Pico. So, but this is their second version of a more consumer focused rather than a prosumer focused VR 180 camera. And we've been keeping we didn't know this was coming necessarily, but it sort of fits into a place in the market that we've been looking at.
Yeah. Everybody, it seems like. I mean, everybody's desperately looking for a replacement for the
Insta360 Evo. A great little point and shoot, but the problem is it just is too low of quality for what it is. And there are some other cameras sort of in this place, but the one thing that this has that's coming that I think is really important is in-camera stabilization. Supposedly it's not delivered on the models that are out there right now, but it's coming in a firmware update later this I think next month.
Ooh.
Which I'll wait for that, right? Like I'm always,
sure.
I hate these promises because that's the other issue, right? Is that you can't adjust the image at all on this. It's basically
it's a big promise. Like stabilization is the reason that you barf while watching. You know, like it's like if it's fixing that in hardware, then you've cut down your post process, and you're not gonna like get
exactly.
sick.
And because if you don't have the in-camera stabilization, then you have to rely on third-party tools to do that, and Mystica is $70 a month for if you even want to touch the VR 180 mode, which I'm paying it, but I don't like it.
Picking and scraping.
But I can't imagine anybody who's trying to use these types of cameras as a consumer, they don't want to have to do anything about that, you know? And you also almost you need a gimbal if you're going to be shooting a VR 180. And the reason why I think this is important and it's good for me, I like to shoot moving videos. Like I really like to take VR cameras into haunts, and there's too much moving around with that because you can't expect where the movement is going to come from.
Because you're getting scared. Like,
yeah,
there's a jump scare.
There's literally people coming up and trying to make you go,
it's already pretty shaky.
So this is great for me as like more of a on the ground shooter, sort of like my Fright Nights VR channel. Because it means that I have something that can replace the Insta360 Evo. There has been some weird stuff. Like I saw a review this guy did on his YouTube channel, and the camera looked good. It was a little bit softer than I was expecting. And
this guy, or is it?
No, it's not this guy. It's a different guy. But the problem was that his stereo disparity was off.
Yeah.
And I feel for the guy because
we've been there.
We've been there.
Everybody's been there.
But here's the thing: is if he shot this and this is the result that came direct out of the camera, something's wrong.
Oh, that's a real problem. Yeah,
that's a problem.
Because that's the whole beauty of these point and shoot cameras.
Exactly. And with the Insta360 Evo, that didn't really happen.
No, it doesn't. It just works.
Unless you user error mostly. Yeah. So they're gonna have to get that ironed out. Maybe it was a pre-production sample.
You just had the camera.
It's entirely possible.
That's all it takes.
You have to hit those horizon lines, and supposedly this has that built in. It's got two different levels of horizon stability lines that you can look at, which is effectively necessary. I mean, it's in the spatial video shooting mode on the iPhone 16 too. So I mean, it's necessary.
I feel like they're both trying to do the same thing, and they know that this is an emerging market. And stabilization is like, I wish we had to be in that stabilization when my iPhones were like my 2005 iPhone videos are just a mess.
You know? Yeah, I've seen the way that you shoot videos.
They should not be edited.
You need to get a gimbal before you should be shooting spatial video.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not
none of this stuff.
I'm an artist.
Hey, some of your videos work intentionally like that.
You haven't seen the archive.
Seen some of it.
But like this is okay. See, this is pretty interesting to me. It's just it's interesting because look at the Gen 1 and Gen 2. Look at it's baked in.
Seems like they have a more accurate color profile this time going around. It is it is very contrasty.
I don't know if you could tell, but
It's a little bit less contrasty than the other one, but
the Gen 2 has a blue like it's like a blue ND filter like inside the software. And the Gen 1 is,
yeah, it's a lot of added.
I'll say, and also looking at this, because I looked at this footage in headset, it's very contrasty in headset.
Yeah.
But it's better quality than the Evo, for sure.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
At this point,
because it's got like a 7.2 K. All right, so new Calf camera, consumer grade. I'm excited for it. We'll see what the long-term reviews look like. I might pick one up. All right. Oh, and it has internal stitching and 3D calibration. Maybe he didn't like activate the
calibration
or something.
Or
and like I said, maybe it was a pre-production sample. Yeah, maybe their tools haven't been released yet.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to look how simple that.
Yeah, it's hope for the best because it does look really cool. Like
it does.
It's a very promising,
and it's not very big. It's like this big.
Yeah. Yeah, so. It's just big enough to get those lenses out. I think it's what 50 mil apart or something like that. So it's pretty decent.
iPhone
and having a touchscreen on it helps.
Yeah, all that. I mean, it. So once they add in like being able to adjust the image and a few other things like that, could actually be a viable B cam for us.
Yep. All right, I think we're gonna move on here, and we got so this one sort of came out of nowhere. It is the C80.
It's a Canon. It's an EOS.
Yep. Yeah. This is it's not exactly the successor to the C70 because apparently they're going to keep selling it alongside it.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Because the C70 is a Super 35 camera, and this one's full frame, which is why it's compatible.
So can you tell us the differences between like what's the difference between the C70 and C80 and like the camera that we're using?
So mainly that, right? So the main differences are Super 35 sensor versus full frame sensor, which if you're not familiar, that is literally most cinema cameras are actually Super 35. Most cameras have been Super 35. Full frame refers to what photography cameras, like a full frame of 35 mil film. It's basically running a different way through the camera.
There's a lot more space that you can edit down with. It's capturing like a lot of edge.
Is that how people like they'll shoot something big and then they'll like punch in with like
among it's not the only thing. Like so in regular 2D stuff, it also means a different perspective, like a different point of view.
Sure.
So like a 50 mil is 50 mil, whereas in Super 35 a 50 is 80 or something.
So on the
equivalent,
the C80, it's got a 6K full frame.
Yeah. So the full frame is what's necessary for.
Oh, and I guess we should mention Canon has added dual fisheye support for the C80.
Right.
So that's why it's relevant for VR shooting.
Yeah. Yeah. Even if it hadn't, right? Yeah. Like the same way that you can put this lens on a Raptor and just do all the work manually like we already do, then you can still use it. But it is cool that they add support for it, like the guides and stuff like that are built into the R5C.
Yeah.
But yes, you need the full frame sensor for this particular lens, the 5.2 mil, because it projects 2 images on that size of a sensor, so you wouldn't be compatible with anything smaller. But yeah, it's only 6K, and so I think we found pretty conclusively that 8K is kind of the minimum.
Yeah,
I certainly wouldn't buy the C80 to use for VR exclusively. Now, if you bought it for every other use that it's made for, and maybe also do some 6K video with it, fine. Like,
sure, and maybe like
decent
upscale it or something. Yeah,
because it is a high quality sensor.
You're gonna get a really good clean image out.
But it is still like kind of in some ways less good than the C70 because the C70 had a dual gain output sensor and this one does not.
Okay,
but it's a higher resolution.
That's what we were talking about last episode.
Yeah. So it's like
you can get really low noise floor on it.
Yeah, the result is apparently pretty similar, but I haven't played with it myself. But,
sure, yeah. I mean, I think it's always good. It seems like we talked about last time, Canon seems to be taking this stuff deadly serious now.
Yeah.
Which is great for the entire community because it means everybody has options.
Yeah.
That if there is something that you shoot with regularly, or you're gonna get a new camera that you shoot with regularly, you can buy the dual fisheye lens, take some time to figure out how to shoot with it, which is the biggest problem.
Yeah.
And you don't have to join a social network in another country.
Yeah, and that is focused on watching hot girls. So many hot girls in VR.
I mean, it is.
Hot girls doing hot stuff.
I guess it's our version of porn propelling the market forward.
Yeah, so goes.
But there's also porn.
Well, yeah, that's what happens in Vegas.
Yeah.
It is funny because the first time when I heard about this Calf camera, I was like, oh, I wonder what type of content they have on there. And so I sideloaded this very sketchy APK onto my Quest. I launched it up and I was like, oh, it's just sexy girls.
I mean, to be
It's
fair,
just sexy girls.
that's
standing
why
in
they
front
talk
of
a
cameras.
lot about the live streaming features on the thing. That's
Yeah.
what it's there for.
So
Okay.
it's nice to see a professional, like a big name company, jump in and be, yeah, this is what we want to do. We're still focused on like what we can do well, but 6K, we're gonna meet you at 6K.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think literally for this camera, it was just like, oh, also we can, like, it's a software tweak to add support, right?
We can-
'Cause otherwise it already
We can future-proof it with
It's a full frame. Yeah, the physicality of it is what makes it compatible. And then they just add a little, they sprinkled in the software to make it even better.
All right. Okay, we're gonna move on now. Okay, what do we got? Oh. There we go. Okay, we're going back to the Apple Vision Pro. It's a deep well for us. So so Apple has been saying that they were gonna add a bunch of new content for Apple Vision Pro users to watch on their Apple Vision Pro, because they launched with like 6 videos or something like that. And a bunch of them have now finally come out. I wasn't able to find any footage of these because the only way you could watch them is with an Apple TV Plus subscription and an Apple Vision Pro. And we don't have access to one because we're not filthy rich.
Yeah.
So I reached out to some people.
Yeah.
I don't really know a lot of filthy rich people either. So
Yeah. I mean, like, even folks that are really have been doing this for a while, like the guys from 360 Labs, also didn't bother to get one.
yeah.
You know.
Though from what I've heard, the Vision OS 2 has brought a lot of new
No,
functionality to it.
huge, improvements is what I'm hearing.
So they have 3 new shows. We've got Elevated. We've got the
Elevated is
it's like a hot air balloon sort of video. It's sort of just like a tour photography type of situation.
so they're literally elevated.
Yeah.
Quite literally, yes.
They're
and
basically
then-
the TV show out of the Apple TV screensavers. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I also
I'd
read
watch that. I would watch that show
I mean,
in my sleep.
yeah.
yeah, and it takes place in Hawaii.
That's the other.
And you soar over like volcanoes and cliffs and stuff. I really would love to watch it, but $3,500.
Just sell your car. It's fine.
Yeah.
Is there a market out there for rental Apple Vision Pro enthusiasts?
I mean,
Like,
probably.
like I don't want to commit to it. I want to lease to own.
Oh, supposedly the next episode will be shot in Maine.
What?
Right.
Look at a bunch of cows.
Not exactly Hawaii, but okay.
I mean, Maine is very beautiful. I have also heard that they're making the in the studio show that they did with Alicia Keys.
Yes, I
That's
did
gonna be
hear
a
that, yeah.
long-term series now.
Yeah.
And also one of the new videos is a Super Bowl video, a
Yeah.
4-minute Super Bowl
Yeah.
video.
Wonder where they got that idea from.
Yeah, right. Adam, we're so sorry. We're so sorry, bud.
I think he's doing just fine.
Yeah. So we had a buddy where
You have a buddy.
there was a situation
He
and
didn't die.
he landed on his feet. So we're glad you landed on your feet, Adam. So good to thanks for watching, bud. But yeah, there's an Apple Vision Pro Super Bowl video, and it is the future of sports, but also, when was the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
how many months ago?
Yeah, exactly.
We're closer to the next Super Bowl
Correct.
than the last one. So that's a little embarrassing, but
We're way past for
that
it.
is
At least we know we're not the only ones that take a long time to post process.
that is very true. Yes. This stuff is hard, man. This is what happens when you're the bleeding edge, you know. I guess we're the cutting edge now.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, we're no scabs here. Too real?
Just some scars.
Yeah, just some scars.
Just some scars.
All right. So yeah, we can probably move on. Okay, so the next one, we added this a little bit later than usual.
It's been a busy week of announcements.
It has. It really.
It's a lot.
It was really creative. This week for AR and VR stuff was really just nuts.
Not to get too meta.
There were like
saw your show notes.
there was almost a new headset released or announced
Like every day.
like almost every day in the last week. It's absolutely insane.
It's the ramp up to Meta Connect.
I guess yeah, they're like trying to get there. before
So
Meta did.
this next one, I feel like at the time was really impressive, but Orion just like absolutely sucked all of its attention out of the room. So this is the Snap
It
Spectacle.
was the Spider-Man of the franchise. It like out of nowhere. Hello, everybody. I thought I was not expecting like moonshot tech to be like.
Yeah. I mean, so Snap's, this is not the first pair of AR glasses that Snap has released. They released like actually starting like about 4 years ago, they released sort of the same thing as like the Meta Ray-Ban glasses where they've got cameras in them.
Yeah.
Supposedly they did better than they expected, and so they just started spending a bunch of money on this because I don't know what else is Snapchat doing these days. Or they're just Snap.
I mean,
They're just not.
taking over the.
So the Snap Spectacles are standalone AR glasses powered by Snap OS. They feature 4 cameras, a spatial engine, micro projectors, and it's got a 46-degree field of view. It's got hand tracking, voice tracking, or like voice recognition, and it's got a 13 millisecond motion to photon latency, which is some of the lowest
that's
AR latency I've ever heard of.
Explain to me what a photon is. Pretend it.
So motion to photon latency is the time between when it renders, when it senses a motion to the moment the photon is rendered to go to your eye.
So I move my hand in front of a chess piece, and I want to move that and check someone.
Yeah. So the motion to photon latency is the time between when you move the piece and the thing that it's rendering goes to your eye.
30 is pretty. It's
13.
13.
Yeah.
Frames per
Yeah,
second?
that's milliseconds. Yeah, that's
excuse me.
very, very, very good.
Heard you the third time.
For for Meta, I think it's actually even more than that. The thing about this though is it's powered by Snapdragon processors, but I believe it's the Gen 1. I'm not sure actually. I'm so sorry. I'm getting this wrong. But this is not a consumer device. It's a dev kit.
so $99 a month rental.
Yeah. And it only has 45 minutes of battery standalone, or else it has to be plugged in. So this is another one of these like sort of moonshot devices, the we can do it devices, showing you what's possible. I'm a little confused about what Snap's long-term goals in this category are.
I'm sure they know.
Yeah,
snap.
exactly. Like I'm not sure.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, but they are very interesting, and it was a very impressive demo from what people who were there said of it.
Just comparing and contrasting this with the Orion demo. I mean, this is out there as a thing, and Orion is
Sometime in the future.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that like this is a developer kit that's going to be going directly into people's hands. Mind you, it does sound like the Orion dev kits are coming out soon. They didn't say when they're going out, but they did say that they're coming soon. But supposedly these have auto dimming lenses, so you can use them outdoors. That's cool. Yeah.
would you wear them outdoors?
I mean, they're goofy as hell, but
They're straight out of Fortnite. Like,
yeah,
it's It looks like
there is some brain rot
No.
going on there.
Yeah,
but,
I mean that's target audience though, right? Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is cool. You can like control it with your phone.
Yeah, that big. That
It's funny
battery
because
is-
it feels like all of these companies. It feels like the early smartphone era where everybody was making a phone, and then all these companies just like blinked out of existence,
yeah,
or all their
well,
products.
This
blinked
is
out
like sort of
existence.
pre-iPhone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
right,
exactly what I mean. It's
like Windows,
that era where they were like
Windows
making phones that were like
Windows Mobile.
like a
Yeah, yeah.
clam for women that was like a clamshell,
Yeah.
like a compact. You
Yeah.
know,
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah, the Razor.
You know, Mr. Mobile.
Yeah.
You ever watch Mr. Mobile?
Yeah.
It's like when phones were fun. I like his
Exactly,
stuff.
yeah.
He's also a Trekkie, so shout out.
Like, like I lived through that era pretty.
It was fun. And this feels like that era where
Yeah.
these companies that really don't. This isn't their wheelhouse. Are trying. They're like, we can do this. We have an AR
Yeah.
division.
Yeah,
I think everyone's
we're
got
we're with it.
stake in it. Yeah, there are a lot of developers. There's a lot of jobs out there.
Yeah.
It's just like time. It's easy to be goofy when you're starting out because you got to make these mistakes, and I
That's
want to
true.
see them. I want to.
And there is so much iteration that we have seen.
Yeah, I mean, it's clearly some sort of stepping stone since it's not being sold to anybody or anything
Yeah.
like that.
But
Not to say
it's
that-
very
I think it's-
impressive product.
I just want to go on the record that I love the design. I know it looks goofy, but it feels goofy to
It at least looks a little bit more intentional versus
Mhm.
the Millhouse look of the.
yeah.
Yeah. Though
I mean, don't
It's
get me wrong,
gonna
in a
grow
weird
on me
way,
for
I
sure.
like them.
Yeah.
In a weird way, I like them, but they definitely
These
look
look like the
they were
3D glasses.
drawn on.
These look like the 3D glasses you get at the movie theater.
Yeah,
Yes,
100%.
yeah.
Definitely like
Yeah, but not as disposable.
Yeah.
Don't throw it away.
I like the name. I think the name is good. All right.
Yeah.
Now on to what was largely the main topic going forward before Meta, but and it was going to be the main topic because we were so excited for it. But now the main topic is a very different tone.
oh no.
Yeah. Oh dear. Oh dear. And that is oh gosh, the Immersed visor. I lost my little controller thing. Oh, nope.
It's like Immersed was trying to be that.
I'm running
iPhone
into
that
technical
killed the
difficulties
BlackBerry.
myself.
Well, and it's kind of funny, right? Because so the big thing with Immersed, while he's
Oh yeah.
struggling with his tech, is
Struggle.
that like they were promising the world, and everybody's like, "This is vaporware. It's total bullshit. It's a scam." And so then when they finally get their
Product line.
the chance to show it off, it doesn't work. So it just confirmed everybody's fears.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
And so I think
Wait a minute.
the
This is
elephant in the room with this is that this company has so they're a software development company. They created this piece of software for headsets. It's called Immersed, and it's
like virtual desktop.
yeah, it's like but it's like a working platform.
Mhm.
It's for
Mhm.
working in headsets,
Mhm.
both mixed reality and in VR, though it mostly VR previously. And they teamed up with Qualcomm to make this headset. It was announced about a little over a year ago, but they've been really awkward with the way that they've interacted with people on social media. Their Reddit their subreddit has been locked down. Any sort of deviation from the norm in their subreddit has been just like completely excised, which
Right.
is not a good look for these types
Yeah,
of
no,
companies.
this is absolutely.
Especially in a place where there have already been so many companies that have promised the moon with these devices and just absolutely shat the bed. So there's a lot of skepticism around these devices already existing. So you can't go in from the beginning with this perception that something is wrong. So about a year ago, they put out pre-orders for this device, and they started promising these things. Mind you, as we got closer, they started showing these really impressive renders. They started showing a lot of concepts that were like, wow, okay. this looks pretty good. And the fact that they had Qualcomm backing them, I started to think like, well, if they're working with Qualcomm, surely they have to be taking this seriously, you know?
Yeah.
So in the last few months, it started as we were getting closer, they would show people wearing them. It started to look like, hey, maybe the haters are wrong on this one. Maybe this is actually real. And then they had their keynote.
I love the catering table.
Yeah. So
It's a bold.
people flew
It's a
to
bold
Texas
move.
to see this keynote, and the keynote was, and the demos that they were supposed to get at this keynote were complete and utter disaster.
Yeah.
Let's
Let's take a look.
So, from what I've read, the demo was completely disorganized, and the reveal was
Wait, what are we looking at here?
effectively
Yeah,
well. This
This
is
wait,
the
XP.
the founder, his keynote, and him talking about how they started the company, where they ended up, the form factors. It's his like cosplaying Steve Jobs situation.
No.
Sure.
As
we all.
yeah. But when the demo happened, none of the people who were working on who got there, none of the demos were working. It was showing a single static image that was not in 3D.
Well, and that was only after they kludged one of them together.
Yes.
Like nothing worked at
At
all
all.
for like most of the time.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, we got this one thing working, and it was just, that was it. That was the demo.
So we came into this like I started writing the notes for the podcast about a week and a half ago, and the demo hadn't, or the keynote hadn't happened yet. So we went into this podcast optimistic, assuming that this was going to be the main topic of the show because it was so important to the long-term industry, because the form factor was really impressive. The specs that they were talking about were supposed to be they're using micro OLEDs, comparable in higher resolution than the Apple Vision Pro, which in that form factor is like mind-blowing,
Yeah, it's like a Robert Downey Jr. was trying to make his own suit, but then he built
that one from Iron Man 2 that
the one-
twists in half
exactly.
and kills the guy.
Yeah.
And he's like screaming. "Ah!" Yeah.
Immersed.
Oof. Immersed.
Immersed.
He did eventually on Threads yesterday post, or I think it was on X actually, post a video of the visor working, and it's like, you could have just done that at the giant event that you organized.
Yeah. So the rumor, or what was overheard, at least per the guys on the Upload VR podcast, was that like they had everything working and there was like a last minute firmware update that borked all the headsets, which I totally believe. Like that.
I mean,
sounds, that sounds like what a maniacal CEO would be like, or whoever was managing.
Isn't there an episode of *Halt and Catch Fire* that's like the exact
It's
same?
the most
that's
cliche
based on
thing
a real
to
event
do.
that
It's
happened.
the most cliche
Yeah.
thing to fuck up.
I've seen
Yeah.
that episode.
Yeah.
We're big fans of *Halt and Catch Fire*.
Yeah. Watched it twice. It's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like you just don't do that, and they're like, oh, we got to get this one feature in there, and blew the whole thing up. I mean, especially when you're talking about firmware stuff, it's just not. You don't slap that stuff together. But,
Well, I mean,
and I'm speculating, obviously, but
just from a planning aspect, wouldn't you keep one or two devices not
In the back?
upgraded with the new firmware?
it's the maniacal word, right? Because like that means somebody who's very confident in the thing they don't know.
Task failed spectacular, or what is it?
Successfully, yeah.
Task
failed successfully.
failed successfully. I mean, so this single-handedly put back my faith in Immersed back to the square one.
And then obviously all the haters that are just like, well, see, I told you it is.
Yeah. I mean, even if it wasn't obfuscation, hiding the fact that maybe something wasn't, even if that's the case, I still am like, well, from a business standpoint, these people don't know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
I feel like just the demo, the parts of the demo that I'm watching, on their laptop, which is reflected in the back of the
Mhm.
screen there. There's a lot of couldn'ts, there's a lot of question marks, there's a lot of these are my college photos. I don't know what they're trying to sell. They're selling like
He's
the
selling
personality.
himself is
Yeah,
what he's doing.
it feels like kind of culty,
Yeah.
but in a
Yeah.
He's trying to be
really
John.
cool.
Yeah.
Right,
Exactly.
like-
Like I said, cosplaying
Right.
Steve Jobs.
But then if you lock out your Reddit, you lock out the thread. That seems
Yeah, I mean
Like,
it's a
ouch.
hallmark of any scam and or whatever, like certainly anti-consumer company, right? Like,
Well, it's why AI has taken off in Silicon Valley so hard is that the people who have money invested in it don't understand that like there are stakes for creative use of generative AI that
that's a bold statement. And I thought we didn't care about AI here, but now
I mean,
we do. Now we
I
do.
don't I don't care about AI in the sense that in it I don't think it is ethically used for creative endeavors.
it is a product of MBAs ruining the tech sector, and they're also ruining
Exactly.
the film sector. And
So we don't really
Notice
talk
that part.
we don't really talk about AI on this podcast, mostly in that it's not really relevant for what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
only in the ways that we use it for like denoising and or like
Sure.
Owl 3D, but not in the ways that they're trying to sell it, which is like these assistants that'll do this or that.
And I just
generate a
I
movie
brought that
for
up
you.
mostly because that type of culture is the same type of stuff that gets you stuff like this.
100%, yeah.
Is a detachment from reality that
They're not tech people making tech decisions.
exactly. They're finance bros
Yeah.
making tech decisions. Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely works out.
Yeah. And especially after the Orion reveal, this feels out of touch. It feels like completely missed opportunity.
Yeah.
They had a chance to steal Meta's thunder, even with Orion, and
Just crashed.
They
and
just
burned
didn't.
spectacularly.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, so that was originally our main topic, but we're going to move on and talk about Meta Connect 2024 now because we managed to get it in at the last minute.
In 10 years, the Orion in 10 years is it's fun to imagine the idea of it, you know?
yeah, I mean,
And it's not a thing that feels like they're gonna throw it at our faces. Literally, it's like
Mhm.
oh yeah, this is complete. This is what we're doing in the Skunk Works. This is where we have the secret. This is what the secret project was about. This is what you're worried. This is where all their investors were like.
That really was
It
like
was-
the definition of Skunk Works. Like they've been working on this for 10 years and it took them this long to get to this point.
Results.
I'm like, technically Skunkworks is like hidden from the company.
Sure.
The company doesn't know what you're doing.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
technically where Skunkworks is. But
Yeah.
well, like, we got to get.
but it certainly is very scrappy and crazy. It's fucking nuts. Like, yeah, and then obviously the 3S is exactly what everybody thought it was, but still cool. And
Yeah.
if it came and they hit the price point that they were trying to hit.
And honestly,
um,
I think what we've seen is that the sales of the Quest 2 were phenomenal. I think
especially when they drop the price.
yeah, especially when they drop the price. Good lord. But the Quest 3 hasn't really captured the attention of most people in the way that the Quest 2 did, because it's just too expensive.
Yeah.
It's past that casual purchase point.
Yeah.
It's past it's more of a big ticket Christmas item.
Yeah.
It's the family device. It's not the you get one and you get one
Yeah.
price.
Right. But then when you have like the biggest market that's growing right now are like basically kids that are like my nephew's age that are like around 10 or whatever, and they're playing like Gorilla Tag,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't need the Quest 3.
Yeah.
This 3S is gonna be perfect.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking about getting the Quest 3 for somebody in my life. I'm not going to mention who, but people can probably figure it out. And they also, they don't need that type of thing because they don't care about the biggest and the best and the flashiest,
Yeah, they just
I
want-
mean, I personally think that pancake lenses would have been... it's hard for me to think about going back to Fresnel lenses.
See, like I actually got a subscription, a prescription for my lenses for the Quest 2 when I first got it.
Mhm.
I thought that was probably the best. Like I thought it was
could
really
look.
the best you could get.
Mhm.
Now my prescription's a little like I'm a little bit older. It doesn't work. I still want to like hold on to that. But I can't imagine it being.
Well, you
a thing
recently
that's,
upgraded from the Quest 2 to
Yeah.
the Quest 3.
Right. So I recently did that, and I waited this long to find a deal on like an auction site.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute, this can't be real. This is half of what. So I went and I did it, and then I went so far as to look at like Zip or Afterpay or Klarna or Affirm to see like,
Sure,
can
yeah.
I just half this? Because I don't even know if it's going to be the leap from the Quest 2 to the Quest 3, wearing these.
Yeah, because you don't
Astounding.
even have to
Yeah, like
change out your glasses.
everything that I imagined was possible back when the Quest 2 was brand new is where we're at right now, and I'm like re-energized. I kind of want to jump back in.
So I got
100%.
prescription.
That's how I've been feeling since then. And it's like, when we're talking about how, like, even though the Quest 3 was what was announced last year, this year's Connect feels like the big one.
Yes.
And it's
Definitely.
because I feel like what you're saying, the Quest 3 finally got us to where, like, meeting our expectations that we've had this whole time.
Yeah.
And now
Because
can
we
look
weren't
forward.
sure before.
Right.
When at the last Connect, we were sort of uneasy about the reveal. Like, is this going to be a good thing? Is this just a slight upgrade? How good are the pancake lenses?
Yeah.
But now that we know, we're like, wow.
Yeah, and they've continued to improve it. Like, it's actually a much better device
I mean,
now
after
than when it
after
was
the
released.
addition of
Yep,
the
yep.
HDMI link, my perception,
Link?
the HDMI link,
Different thing.
Yeah.
the
Different
porting
things.
in where you can like plug in your Switch and the laptop,
Yeah,
and
important
have-
safety tip.
is in having like zero lag, being able to use your laptop,
Yeah.
like mind blowing. It's become, like I said last episode, the device that we think about when we think of video glasses or this product category that's sort of been around since those Sony video glasses in the early 2000s. I think even late 90s.
Yeah.
The ones that had like little 480p
Yeah.
Those high res
screens in them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's going to be on your logo sheet like 20 years from now. You've got the guy that's right now on
Oh, yeah.
with the
Honestly, like, we could put that in right now, honestly. I've always wanted to get one of those pairs, and like, because I wanted them when I was a kid,
Yeah.
because I saw them in Sharper Image or whatever it was. But like, imagine using them now. You'd be like, oh my god.
It's like putting on a power glove.
It's so bad.
Still, screw that, man. I love it.
I think the Power Glove came up in our last episode too.
It comes up every time.
Yeah.
We should actually just make it a thing that we just bring it
You
up
know-
every time.
Lindsay has a Power Glove.
Get out of here.
We could get one and we could put it on. I could borrow it from her.
Just hit like
Can we get 3?
all the days.
We can all get-
Honestly, she probably has more than one. I'm not even
Would be
lying. She probably
amazing.
has more than one. Lindsay, if you're watching, can we borrow a Power Glove?
Yeah, and like a mannequin like hand to fit it onto.
Right. Just as functional either way.
Well, that was fun.
Yeah.
I like this one.
This has been a good.
Sean,
Yeah.
thank you so much
Very-
for being here. Sean's our new, he's gonna be a long-term host with us, so he's gonna be in more episodes going forward.
You can't get rid of me.
We're gonna shoot some new content in the space too. So little small announcement. We're gonna make some. We're working on the Retro Tech show, and we're gonna do some gaming content too, because I think we have an interesting take on gaming content that is a little bit different than most people. We're gonna shoot it in VR. Almost all of our videos are in VR. So
They're all at the very least 3D.
yeah.
Spatial.
So those are going to be fun. Like I said, we have an interesting take on both of those, and I think it's going to be really cool. Also, we have some really cool stuff cooking up that's super secret that we can't even talk about.
Like I don't. Yeah. Like I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
It's going to be I think 2025 is going to be a really, really different year for us. We might have to, it might affect the
Yeah. There.
release schedule of the podcast,
Yeah.
but we're going to try and stay a little bit on schedule.
Might be
But
getting them on the-
Sean, what do you got going on? Tell us what's going on in your creative life.
Well,
Because you're an actor. So
I'm
you're
an
in
actor.
stuff.
I got some of that working for me. I'm put some of that.
What are
some
the
of
next
that-
couple projects you're going to be in?
Oh, I can't talk. That's top secret. That's the production schedule.
Okay.
That's all stuff that.
Well, you're
you'll
in a
find
movie
at
coming
Top
out
25.
soon, right?
Actually, yeah. You know, I mentioned I think I'm in this movie that was in Fright Fest UK earlier last month. It's called Test Screening,
Yeah.
and I can tell you who's in it, but you could find out on IMDb. And
All right. That was a lot of fun. We have the watch party episode also is available. That'll be separate. That's a second episode. It's not like a part thing. You can watch it independently. But we had a lot of fun. Thanks for Sean. Thanks Anthony for making this beautiful new psych wall setup we got going, and thanks to Framework for hosting us here. I mean, we are paying for it, but it's a great space. Yeah, we're out. Thanks for watching.